Hey people, this is episode 226, and as I record this episode, I am a day after we actually sat in and recorded the full episode, and an afternoon after I sat down and had some oral surgery, so you are not getting what I would call my A game as for an intro. I will say this, the episode itself was pretty close to our A game because it was a really fun episode where we talked about random stuff. And we did that with the Bombcast J, myself, and the flop return. That's right, Missy came back. And judging by the text messages before the show, the Silver Badger is very close to coming back. So we might have a return to normalcy, which signifies that COVID's probably going away for good. It has to be a thing, right? And in addition to that, after the show, I did record a YouTube episode of Z-Man Show with Mike Schilling that unfortunately we have to do a take two because he had some sound problems. But the gist of that show is that we were going to and we did review the new Mortal Kombat film. So look for that when it comes out, and I'll pub that when it comes out, and also, check out the Z-Man Show in general. Even though they had completely wrong take on the Godzilla movie, Kong vs. Godzilla, they're still awesome. Still a great dude. Still a person that I would do his show in a heartbeat anytime he needs me. So all that said, we're going to jump into this episode. So as soon as you hear the bomb, it's going to start. And I apologize for the complete lack of enthusiasm in this intro. But here it comes right now. You're here more than everyone else combined.
You actually hang out with my husband more than I do, too.
Yeah.
So.
You probably like me more than she does.
That is an accurate statement.
Yeah. Are we ready to go?
Can you hear me just fine?
You know what?
Can you hear me just fine?
I don't want that anymore. I'm going to take these off, and I think we can get started. So, I guess on that note, I will say we are back, and this is a rare treat. Not because the Silver Badger's back, although he did weigh in today and tell us he wasn't going to make tonight, which tells me that he might start coming back. Fingers crossed. Bender, of course, said he couldn't make tonight. Tomorrow would work, which would put the podcast a day late for coming out, which is typical of a Bender answer. But what we do have, in addition to Bombcast J, who we were just saying is the most regular person on the show, we also have the flop returning for the first time in months.
So two things. One,
okay.
Didn't like your little giggle of how you were trying to intro me.
When? Just now?
Yeah. You're like, oh, guess who's back?
It was a giggle of happiness. I don't know how. I feel like maybe we're seeing why the flop hasn't been on here.
I think so.
And two, I don't think Jay is more regular than you are.
Well, no, but the most regular...
Pooping-wise.
Yeah. No one's more regular than me. Louis growling about something over there. I did want to start at a particular place. This episode doesn't really have a direction other than some things that have been going on. As we record this, it's May the 4th, so May the 4th be with you.
And the 4th with you.
But I do have some things to say about that here in a second. But what I did want to start at is, I haven't even told Missy about this yet, but I was traveling on the road last week. And every once in a while when you see when they say there's a glitch in the system, when we know we're living in the Matrix. I had a kind of a David Lynch sort of glitch in the system moment that happened to me. Is I was traveling, had to stop and use the bathroom really bad, so I stopped at a Rhodes, which is down around Cape. And very nice, pristine, clean bathroom, really reflective tiles behind the urinals. And I started to pee, and on the urinal was a hand-drawn mouth, and a nose. But what made me know that it was a glitch in the system is at 6'6", where I was peeing, it lined up perfectly to where my eyes were the reflection. So it looked like a real face with me. No one does that on purpose. I mean, unless it's on purpose. Like, I'm 6'6", I'm not the norm. And it was kind of, I looked at it at first and I go, oh, that's funny. It makes me look like I have a silly face. And then I sat there and I go, now I'm scared. Now
You either had a tall person that did it or someone took a stool in with them.
I can only assume that I did it to myself in a David Lynch style movie, like Lost Highway.
Yeah.
Or what was his his California one, 2 Days in the Valley, or no, not that, but
no.
It was only one of his most famous movies. Mulholland Falls. Or
Yeah,
Mulholland
Mulholland
Drive.
Drive.
Mulholland Drive. Yeah, in some kind of weird time twist, Donnie Darko situation, I feel like I did that to myself knowing I was going to come through later. And I got to tell you, I didn't stress about it, but I thought about it for a good 40 minutes on the way home.
40 minutes.
It was a long drive.
Yeah, it gives you something to think about then.
I was thinking, because I really had to run through the scenario and why I would be time traveling, and if that was the time traveling moment. And there was a brief part of me thought that maybe I need to turn around and go back and draw it on there in case I was coming back later to catch myself.
If you put some kind of time loop.
I didn't want to mess up the time stream.
Why didn't you put a date on it? So next time when you're there,
If there's one thing I've learned when you're in these kind of films is that you don't think about the fact that you're in these kind of films in the moment. So
you just said you thought about it in the moment.
but I didn't want to let myself know I thought about it. You don't know what could happen. You know? I mean, it could be a weird deal, but I can tell you, if I was a drug addict, my mind would have been blown.
Well, and you can't put the date on it because then you would know when you'd have to go do it.
Right. I would trip myself out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But clearly, though, whoever did that had to be my size.
Yeah.
And then they're bad at jokes because unless they're intentionally trying to fuck with the next tall guy that come in, because it perfectly lined up with me.
Yeah.
Well, it is Cape, you said, and there's a lot of cornbread motherfuckers down there.
The only like I think I've talked about this on the podcast. The only better urinal experience I've ever had in terms of being tall was the one time John Shannon and I stopped at this bar on Manchester, kind of down from the Grove, and I had to stand on my tippy toes in order to pee. And I asked them why, and they said there used to be a platform that you stepped up on, and they had to take it out because it's starting to get waterlogged from people peeing, so they were going to replace it.
So what happened to the people like me that night that wouldn't...
You lean back and let it go like a
shoot an angle.
like Conker's Bad Fur Day when you have to pee out the fire monsters. That's
Yeah.
the way to do it. So, but that's where our episode starts today. So like I said, I didn't have any direction. It is May 4th, so I guess if we want the only thing I want to talk about Star Wars related is I did watch The Bad Batch today.
I haven't watched it yet.
So we will not talk about The Bad Batch today. This is all I will say.
Yeah, don't spoil it
I have
for
not
me.
watched. Yeah. I have not watched Rebels or the Clone Wars, so you got to know that before
Yeah.
I give my review. But I absolutely loved it.
Awesome.
I thought it was great. You don't have to know about those per se. They do drop some names like Commander Cody or whatever, and they talk about some other characters that I know came from that. But it was just fun,
Yeah.
a fun animated show. And I did watch The Simpsons.
I was going to ask.
I watched it. There was it was Waking Up with the Force,
Something
or
like that.
Waking, and it was a 2.5 minute cartoon with Maggie waking up and a lot of other Star Wars villains fighting her, small Star Wars villains fighting her, Grievous and Darth Maul and things like that.
I hadn't gotten to see that yet either. I was kind of waiting for the kids for it. But
So they call it a short, and
Yeah.
it says it's 3 minutes, but I can tell you this, about 45 seconds of that 3 minutes, or 50 seconds of that 3 minutes, is the credits, where it's just a bunch of Star Wars imagery with
Yeah.
The Simpsons inside it.
Yeah.
So it's not really 3 minutes long. In fact, I had to watch it twice, because I put it on play, started something, and looked up, and was like, oh god, this is over.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of it.
Yeah.
So... But the only other thing I'll say about Star Wars today is I did put on, it's still got a little time left, because I felt like something Star Wars related, the Rise of Skywalker again.
yeah.
And I stand by the fact, I like it a little more than I did the first time I saw it. I even watched it again when I got Disney Plus. But there's some redeemable parts of that movie.
Yeah.
The series as a whole is not great, but that if they would, I believe if Abrams would have done all of it, it would have been a lot better.
Oh, I
all
agree.
of them would better because there was some. I enjoy the Kylo Ren story arc as a whole, the
Yeah.
character development as a whole. So. Yeah, so I watched it, and that dog needs to go outside. That's what he wants.
It's humping hour.
Yeah, well, he's driving me insane. So, anyway, so that's enough about Star Wars. Unless you've got something,
Well,
Missy.
I do. Since you're talking about, I can't.
Oh, she's got something.
Since you're talking about May the 4th be with you, can we talk about some Leonard Nimoy facts?
You know what?
I don't really have any. I just wanted to say that joke.
It'd have been awesome if you'd have done it straight faced.
I couldn't.
So for those that couldn't tell because she was laughing, Missy pulled a very How Pow-ish joke on us twice so far. One was, oh yeah, don't spoil it for me. That's a very How Pow joke. And two, just asked if we could go over some Leonard Nimoy facts, proving that I married a funny person, which is great. I always thought you were. Now the world can hear it. What about you, Jay? Before we get, or let's just go into what's some things you brought to the table today.
All right, so I've been reflecting on Falcon and Winter Soldier for the last week.
Okay.
You better watch your mouth, first of all. I can't even talk. Watch your mouth.
She's bringing apparently the slapstick to the episode.
I'm invoking How Pow and Tommy at the same time.
Okay, there you go.
With a little Bender mixed in.
Yeah.
You are correct. I can't talk.
Missy's an amalgam. Just when we go to bed, make sure those parts of your personality are gone.
But I watched the making of special that they did.
I did not watch that yet, but I like the show so much I will. Hey, this is a hot take. I think overall, counting the ending, I liked it better than Wanda.
Yeah, I think so too.
Wanda was more creative.
Yes, very much more creative. But they kind of stuck with the tones they put in the first Captain America movies, which really worked for those. And it's been the best overall series of films that they put out.
Yeah, front to back. I mean, the first one was B-.
Yeah.
But Winter Soldier is an A+, and there's an argument to be made it's the best Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And Civil War, for me, is a straight A.
Yeah.
There's an argument to be made it's in the top 5 of the best Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So...
And the other thing they did with it is they made it relevant to conversations that are happening today.
I told Missy after I got done watching it that it made me teary-eyed. I think we talked about this on the when they went to the museum.
Yep.
I teared up. We talked about on this episode on this show too. I believe it was when I was with Sam the DM,
Which was a good episode.
Thanks. He's a very. I mean, his shows. He does a great job on his show.
Yeah.
He's got a great vernacular. He paints a good picture as a DM. He makes me want to play in one of his sessions, but I don't want to hire him. I feel like he came on our show. He's our buddy.
Yeah.
We should get a discount, like free.
Wow.
No, he's
very presumptuous.
He's a great dude, though. But
he got really hype on something.
he was the.
I could hear him all the way upstairs.
The
I was
most
like, damn,
passionate
that's
any guest has ever been on the Throw It to Missy segment was Sam the DM. But like I told him, I brought that critic up from Bleeding Cool or whoever it was, and she panned the speech.
Yeah.
And my response was, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, that speech was great. And I think her exact words were, nothing, it gets a titan of industry going, like being told they're wrong, which is all he did, was telling us that we caused this mess, and it didn't play. Yes, it did. It played great. It was awesome. So shut your mouth.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
She was the editor-in-chief of Bleeding Cool or something. She's stupid.
Okay. Is it because she's a she?
No, she is the second person that has an open invitation, along with George R.R. Martin, to come on our show, and she's going to defend why she did not like Falcon and Winter Soldier. The only other explanation I can think of is that I counted, she mentions WandaVision 7 times. And that's one of the big problems I have with the critics of Falcon and Winter Soldier. They're like, well, it's not WandaVision. Okay, yeah, because WandaVision starred Wanda and a cyborg, and
Vision.
and Vision, and this starred Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So automatically, different show.
So are you going to say Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't good because it wasn't Winter Soldier?
Yeah, right.
I mean that's accurate, right? No, I'm just kidding. Kidding.
She's going hard today.
I know.
She wants the hate mails. PCBombcast@gmail.com. Put attention, hating the flop in the subject matter.
We can just hand out our phone number and they can text it.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah,
This
555 lick
is
me.
not the point where you answer a question wrong and your number goes out.
So anyway, what else did you think on it?
I think I like this format better than the movies because they can really delve into the characters and tell a compelling story. And compared to like the Netflix shows that went too long, these have just been perfect.
Yeah, right in the right wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And another thing about the show too, I thought it was exceptionally well done. And the one thing I do agree with the critic that for Bleeding Cool that I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. The one thing I will agree with her is the penalty or the punishment for Walker was not severe enough.
Yeah.
He was kind of let off the hook. But with the exception of that, I thought his character had a really good character arc in it.
Yeah, but for a career military guy to be dishonorably discharged, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's just I think you would be held harsher there'd be some political imprisonment made, especially knowing he was a super soldier that beheaded a person almost with on camera. But
we don't know if Val maybe pulled some strings to get that too.
And apparently, had they came out like you had mentioned on time with Black Widow, we would have had more context with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character.
Yeah.
So we'll know. I can't wait for Black Widow.
Yeah.
Would you got any other Falcon and Winter Soldier thoughts? Because I can transition us into our next topic.
So what direction do they go from here? I mean, they've set up multiple things besides Captain America 4.
Well, Captain America 4 absolutely has to happen because this was so good, and Sam as Captain America was so cool.
They announced it's happening.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, but it had to.
Yeah.
Now they have a new series next year with Isaiah.
Yeah.
They have Black Captain America with the first one. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
And then they also Tales from Mandalore.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Tales of Mos Eisley. They could do it like that, like a Star Wars thing. And, we're going to see I think what we saw in Falcon and Winter Soldier will have a lot of effects on the history. It'll flesh out the history of the MCU.
Yeah.
But I also think that it can naturally fill some things in for mutants when we get them. So it was just great in that sense.
And then there's also the setup with Val's team that she's going to be putting together with U.S. Agent. So a possible Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers.
Yeah, I think they should call them Dark Avengers, but say codename Thunderbolts or something like that. That would be the best.
Because, you have multiple versions of Thunderbolts over the years, so
yeah.
Thunderbolt Ross could come in as Red Hulk at some point.
Yeah, it's for a Hulk movie maybe eventually. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I gotta say this, and I don't think you watched it. I made Hayden watch it this morning, Missy.
What's that?
Is they had a commercial or a pre-trailer for Phase 4 Marvel.
Yeah.
And the first time I watched it, I was like, this is awesome. The second time I watched it, in the car this morning, dropping Hayden off at school, I had to fight back being misty-eyed.
Yep.
And I'll tell you right when it hit me, was the theater reaction when Cap sets and you hear Sam say, "On your left, Cap," and the crowd goes crazy when he gives the Avengers a symbol.
Yeah.
That is just 10 years in one, building that moment for 10 years, and that was so good. But the great thing about the trailer is that it's Stan Lee narrating the beginning, and then they have
Isn't he dead?
Yeah, so it was. I mean, but they have plenty of Stan Lee on
Okay.
sound bites through the years. So then it goes to that moment. And then they move forward and they show us clips of Kumail Nanjiani and the Eternals. Mm-hmm. They show us, nothing we haven't seen from Black Widow.
Yeah.
They show us some more Shang-Chi, but it was our first look at the Eternals.
Yeah.
And then they give us the names of the other movies that are coming out, which is Thor, Love and Thunder, which is Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania, which is the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2.
Question: is Thor and Love and Thunder two separate things, or
It's the same movie.
Thor and it's like the title and subtitle?
Yeah.
Thor, Love and Thunder is the
It
name of the
actually
movie.
sounds like a porn.
Well, it's a female Thor. We're gonna see Natalie Portman as
I already don't believe it.
Yeah, she's buff too. They've showed pictures of her. She's buff.
No. Is she supposed to be his woman?
So she was his woman in the history, but what happens is Thor, for whatever reason, we won't go into it in the comic book, but he loses his worthiness, and it's given to Jane. So she gets the hammer, and when you have the hammer, you have the powers of Thor. So she gets the mantle of Thor.
I just don't like it that she's the character.
That she'll be the Thor?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, okay. Well, I think you haven't even seen it yet.
I don't like it.
Okay, my bad. My bad. You're going hard on Natalie Portman, apparently. Well, and
you might be on the couch tonight.
then we see the second time I get a little misty-eyed in the trailer. They show us the Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is the name of the new one. And then the trailer ends on the greatest Easter egg, the greatest and most blatant Easter egg of all time. For those that weren't in the know, and I can tell you I was listening to The Point this morning, and they didn't catch it because they just assumed it was Phase 4,
Yeah.
but they give us a circle and a 4 in it, and then they show Marvel.
That's not Phase 4. That's Fantastic Four
Yeah.
coming eventually.
Okay.
So and hopefully, fingers crossed, let's hope it's the worst kept secret on the internet. That's John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, as Reed Richards.
Now, that I'm okay with.
And Emily Blunt is the Invisible.
Yeah, Emily Blunt
Oh,
is
really?
invisible.
Okay.
That would be
That's been the rumor.
husband and wife, husband. The only thing, I mean, I know they did it with Jessica Alba, but Sue Storm is blonde.
Yeah.
To me, she's blonde, so
Yeah.
make her blonde. But we'll see. I mean, they also made Johnny Storm a black guy, and I can tell you, Michael B. Jordan wasn't the problem with that movie.
No,
so,
he was not.
Should
But
this
they
be
pulled that
cold?
from the Ultimate Comic.
Are you about to
You
drink
might as well just
Yeah,
open
yeah,
it and
go
pour
ahead.
some of it if you want, Missy. Will
No,
you?
I was just wondering, does it need to be refrigerated?
Well, we don't have beer. I'm just asking, would you open it to pour it, please?
No, you open it.
Okay.
So back to the trailer. The Stan Lee stuff was to get people to go back to the movies.
Oh, that's what
and
it is,
was
yeah.
talking about the communal experience of watching a movie together.
Yeah, and the more things change, the more we need some of the same.
Right.
And what was cool about it, though, too, it says in starting 2021, Marvel welcomes you back to the cinema, and it was that's kind of a cool
That's
thing.
cool, yeah.
And so, like, Patrico rarely says super smart things on the point, but Patrico himself said,
That's enough.
if there's one thing that will get people back to the movie theater, it will be Marvel movies.
Oh, for sure.
We're going to be in Florida when Black Widow comes out, and I'm going to make us stop what we're doing to go see it.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's the most amazing day outside?
Well,
What
we
did
were
they-
in
that's-
Florida before and saw one of the Star Wars prequel movies.
And that's
so-
in July, right?
July 9th.
Okay, yeah. We'll be home. We'll be in San Diego June 19th.
You won't be. When are you going to on your work trip?
Oh, my work trip is the week of July, the week leading into our anniversary. So our anniversary is on that Saturday. I get back on that Friday. So 12th through the 17th is when I'll be in Traverse City, where I will be having awesome beer.
Yeah.
And Michigan beer. Yeah, we're going to have to do something with him because he's driving me insane and he's moaning.
The door is open upstairs. I don't know.
He wants to go outside. I can tell you in the history of our podcast, that's like the third time in 226 episodes that we've paused an episode. That's going to be a headache for me because I got to edit out that little 5 seconds before that. Ugh, so mad.
So the first episode we did where we were like together,
Yeah.
we had tornado sirens go off in the middle of it. So we had
Oh.
to stop
Wow.
and kind of hang out in the basement for a while and then go back in.
I thought you meant us. I was like, Jay, that did not happen.
No.
You are making up a story right now.
It could happen.
Yeah, but we were really drunk if that happened.
Time loop again.
Okay, yeah, that happened. So that's the Jeremy that wrote drew the thing on the wall. But so anyway, so I'm super excited. That was a couple of trailers we talked about and stuff. And I tell you this, let me also segue out of that because we mentioned how good Michael B. Jordan was
Yeah.
in a bad movie. We just watched a Michael B. Jordan movie, and I could bring Missy back into a conversation. We
Thank you.
watched Without Remorse, a Tom Clancy film.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, it's on Amazon Prime. It debuted on Friday. He's Joe Kelly, or John Kelly. Joe Kelly's a comic book artist. John Kelly, or writer. He's a writer, right? Yeah.
I thought he was a ex-cardinal.
He is too.
Yeah. That's Machine Gun Kelly.
They're
That's
brothers.
Yeah.
That's Machine Gun Kelly. Oh, Machine Gun Kelly's a rapper.
And Machine Gun Kelly's also a notorious gangster, but before it was, but
Okay, we're going off.
former
All right.
Cardinal Joe Kelly, I call him Machine Gun Kelly because we won a playoff series against the Pittsburgh Pirates because in the Andrew McCutcheon's first at bat, he plunked him and put him out for the rest of the season. So he was
Oh,
the Cardinals
I was
hitman.
like, fuck you.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, so we watched Without Remorse, which, as far as action movie go, and one of the things that would have been great, and I had to go hard and look this up, is because they do have Jack Ryan, which is a very good series in
Yeah.
Amazon Prime. This was not made as an Amazon film. It was made, and Amazon ended up buying it because of the theaters, problem, and released it. Now, they did put a little extra scene to kind of tie it into that, but we didn't see any Krasinski or any mention of Jack Ryan.
You didn't see him in the background of that one scene?
I did not.
He was really undercover.
Well, yeah, he was like literally on the bed under the cover.
No bunk from The Wire.
No. But it was, well, that was the thing they tried. His character on Jack Ryan,
Yeah.
was his daughter our granddaughter or whatever is the liaison for Kelly in this
Okay.
movie, and they mentioned that.
Yeah.
But it was a solid action movie, I guess. Right?
Why would you say I guess?
I mean, it wasn't. there wasn't anything overly memorable about it. I think Michael B. Jordan is great in everything he does. I think he's a really good actor. I think he's a believable action star, and I liked him in this movie. It just had a weird pace to me. Like, the story had a weird pace. The threat was really kind of, I don't want to spoil it, but it really wasn't a massive threat, and it almost, as great as the Jack Ryan films and the series are, they don't typically go so far into unbelievable, and I felt like this film sometimes went to the unbelievable where the bad guys shoot at him 100 times and he pulls 3 shots and kills 3 people.
Oh, yeah, there was a scene where he was coming down the stairs wide open all by himself.
And just
14 people shooting at him, not one. I think he got hit one time.
Yeah, he got hit twice. He got hit a bunch early in the film. That's not a spoiler. But yeah, it wasn't what... Like I said, if I'm out of 5, I guess we could do that. I don't know what you would give it, but I'd give it like a 3. It was just above
because
average.
I'm not, I didn't have to go chasing down storylines. I'll give it a 4.
Okay, well, that's a good rating. And is that just because of the dreaminess and actually the overall goodness of Michael B. Jordan?
You could have stopped at the dreaminess.
He
had his shirt off quite a lot, so.
Yeah, and it's a good movie, though. I mean, it's worth watching. Certainly worth it on Amazon Prime. I think I would have been disappointed to pay for it in the theater.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know, because it's an action movie, and I think action movies are always the best movies
That is true.
to see in the movie theater.
I've been I got so deep into these crime movies that I've been watching for like the last umpteen months.
Yeah.
That I've been really, really jonesing for like just a stupid action movie, which this kind of fell into that Die Hard mold,
Yeah.
And I really, really, really want a great comedy.
Yeah.
Like a great comedy. And there's not been one of those made in a while. So much so that I watched Old School on like TBS this weekend. I didn't even mind that
That
the
it was
editing.
edited?
Yeah, I was like, I just need something, And
Yeah.
Old School's in the pantheon of great comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, will you do me a favor before we get to the next topic?
God.
Will you let the dog in?
No.
I got to take a drink of this. By the way, the first beer we had didn't count because it's beers we've had a million times. But I've never had Chico's Revenge. Have you?
No, this is the first time I had it.
And this is a beer from Second Shift, which I've said a million times. Second Shift is one of my 2 favorite breweries going right now in St. Louis, the other being Narrow Gauge. Mm-hmm. But this is an Imperial Milk Stout aged in Buffalo Traced and Willet bourbon barrels. So really good. It's a 9.5 ABV. And the description on it on here was that it had lactose and some stuff added to it. My dog is he's losing his mind today. But I'm going to take a drink, and you tell me what you think of it as I take a drink.
I love it. I'd probably give it a 4.5. Real thick. What I like in an Imperial Stout like this.
What do you think, Missy?
I'm gonna give it probably a 3, just because I don't enjoy Imperials.
You're not an You can do Imperial IPAs before you can do barrel aged stouts.
Yeah. When this
the whiskey
poured,
thing gets her.
Yeah.
When this poured, I was like that. And this is kind of cliche when people see like stouts or porters poured, they're like, "Oh, that looks like oil."
Yep.
This is that thick. Like I was like, that really does look like oil. Most people that say the beer looks like oil are just douche.
Yeah, they just
nozzles.
they do it because they're scared of dark beer.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3.75. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. And I tell you why I didn't give it a 4 is I don't taste the milk that much in it as much as I do the barrel. But it's still a good beer.
Yeah.
What do you got next?
Let's see. Invincible. Season 1's done. We got 2 and 3 coming.
Let's start with the only 2 complaints I have for season 1.
right.
Complaint 1. This is a slight spoiler, so if you don't want to hear this, you're going to have to skip 5-6 minutes ahead, 10 minutes ahead, however long it takes. For the final, what happened in this episode was his dad beating his ass.
Yeah.
Would have been more impactful had Invincible not got his ass kicked so many times throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
He should be tougher. And I know they will make him tougher, but you didn't see much of Invincible the hero. You saw Invincible trying to be a hero and constantly losing.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little badly. And in the comic, he's a little better right out of the gate than he is in this.
Yeah. I mean, especially when he goes and takes on all those criminals with can't think of the guy's name, the one that turns to stone.
Yeah, I forget his name too.
Like,
but
he just got
it's very
pummeled
hard.
in that.
Invincible's the Game of Thrones of comic books.
Yeah.
There's so many characters in it.
Yeah.
And my other complaint is, and this is not a big complaint, the only thing with 8 episodes, and based from the comic, coming in truly from a comic book perspective, is they really did smush a handful of storylines from that first 12 to 18 issues together in this. Stuff that would have happened normally after the Omni-Man twist and stuff. They kind of started us getting the ball rolling already on Robot Man, or I can't even remember his name now. All that said, it's a 5 out of 5. Mm-hmm. Maybe if I'm being super picky about that stuff, if it's a 4.95 out of 5. Yeah. It's an incredibly good cartoon. The fight with his dad was super awesome.
Yeah.
They did a good job, even on some of the character changes they made to, kind of a little more woke and stuff. Yeah. All didn't detract from anything.
Some of that stuff they kind of had to do since the comic's is over 10 years old now.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I have no problem with it, and it made sense. They didn't do anything major, change, but they added some important characters, or changed some important characters without affecting the overall story. The voice actors were awesome. My big fear, listening to this whole thing, for the greatness that is J.K. Simmons, and whether you love him just because he's great, in as a serious actor, or he's great as a genre actor, if he's a geek actor, his voice is amazing. I kind of worried at first throughout the season, like, what's it going to be like when he's the bad guy?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a menacing voice. He's got a cool voice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's awesome.
Yeah, he pulled it off.
And it's because he doesn't put a lot of emotion in it. And that's what Omni-Man, it's not an emotional thing.
Right.
It's a job.
Yeah.
And, but 5 out of 5, 2 and 3. I'm glad they already renewed it for 2 more seasons. I can't wait.
Yeah, more Battle Beast in season 2. They've already confirmed.
Yeah, and that's good. Well, and if you go back and watch the trailer, I take it back. There was the little montage in this showed us the Battle Beast scene from the trailer. Yeah, I can't wait for that. All of it, good show, worth it. I highly recommend it.
The highlight of that last battle was when he had the flashback to Mark playing baseball. And then all of a sudden,
in the feels.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he's like, "What am I doing?" and just takes off.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Oh."
And kind of what they did in the comic too. He just left and they couldn't follow him. I mean, good show.
Yeah. So,
what do you give it out of 5?
I'd give it a 5 easily. I want to go back and reread it.
Now I'll tell you this. I think I'm going to get the hardcovers. I think I have them. I'm going to start. I think I got 1 or 2. I don't know, but I'm going to start getting, now that the series is done, I want to get all the big omnibus editions.
Yeah,
because it's such a great show.
Yeah.
I think Missy would like it. I think you really would like it because it's a very mature, obviously because of the blood and guts and the language, but it is a very adult comic book and adult themes. It's really good. And I'll tell you this. Let me segue to something, speaking of language, that Missy and I started this week.
Finish that.
That we were, I don't know why we were shocked, but you mentioned it out loud, and it kind of did take me off guard. But we started the Challenge All-Stars, which is the old school vets on Paramount Plus. And it's kind of fun that they don't edit anything on this. They're just dropping the fuck word.
And I said fuck a lot.
Yeah, and Missy's like, I guess they could just cuss in this one. So, which I can't wait, and I do want, when we finish this, to start the old school Real World.
Yeah. But what's not fun, and this should not be a shocker to anyone, these people are in their late 30s, mid to late 30s to mid 40s, and their first challenge was really hard, and they struggled.
Yeah, they had to dive way down to get some heavy blocks and bring them back. And the blocks had numbers on it, and they knew what block to go to because of some equations. But it was an out, swim, and down.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this: one of the things that kind of struck me is, we've, for the most part, from our teenage years, have had this show. So I thought that's not really the case, though. It was like our 20s, and
I don't know why you thought teenage years.
Well, it just seems like it's been around forever. And some
we were maybe 19 at the youngest when Road Rules happened.
Yeah, well, Real World happened when we were 12, but
then shortly after they only had 2 or 3, 4 seasons of Road Rules, and then it started going into the challenge. Yeah.
But what kind of took me off guard is when some of the characters were laying there in bed, and they were talking about their age, and he goes, well, we're a couple of 79ers, and what are you? 84? She goes, no, I was born in 80, and they're like, oh, and I was thinking about it, I go, holy shit, we're older than some of these old people in this, and it seemed like when we watched them, it was unfathomable to me that these people in the show that I liked when I was 20
Yeah.
were also 20. That just
Yeah.
that's what it make. That's where the reality disconnect hits. Like, well, they're on TV, they have to be older.
Yeah.
You know?
Or they're older playing younger, like we see in movies.
Yeah, like we see all the
Oh
time.
yeah, like Luke Perry did on 90210. He's like in his mid-20s, but he played a 16, 17-year-old.
I wish social media would have been around when we were that age, because there was this Teen Beat magazine feud between 90210 and Saved by the Bell. When Saved by the Bell got massive popularity there in its last handful of seasons, two, 3 seasons really, and because Tiffany Amber Thiessen was becoming a sex symbol, Mark Paul Gosselaar was the attractive guy, but 90210 they were the primetime show that was, and there was a back and forth, and I remember one of my favorite comments was Mark Paul Gosselaar in an interview was like, Luke Perry kind of ridiculed them because they were like a kid show. He wasn't mean, but he was like, well, they're a kid show, so let those kids go and play. And Mark Paul Gosselaar said, maybe we are a kid show, but it's pretty cool that the people in our kids show are actually kids and not men with full beards.
Right. Right.
That was
You
pretty
had on some Saved by the Bell thing. Was it last weekend? It was when Zach and Kelly got married.
It was the primetime wedding special, and it was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Elizabeth, what's her name?
Shannon Elizabeth. Or no.
Elizabeth Berkley.
Yeah, Elizabeth
Thank you.
Berkley, yeah.
And she could only show up for the last scene because she had just had Showgirls, so she was really popular.
Well,
Or was it
polarizing is what
right?
she was.
Or
yeah.
was it because she had been in Showgirls and they didn't
Yeah.
want her in
I don't think they
wholesome
wanted her to
show?
distract
It was
from the
one
show,
of those
so
two.
they gave her like 10 minutes in the final of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Man.
What do you got next?
So I finally saw Kong versus Godzilla.
All right, I want to hear your thoughts.
They could have gotten rid of the humans and I would have been perfectly fine.
It would have been. I mean, the humans were definitely a distraction, but they weren't so bad that it made it a lesser movie because
Right.
it was a great movie.
Yeah. I mean, having two beasts battle, that's the only thing you need in it. The people in it,
Yeah.
yeah, you could do without them, but they have to have something there to establish the
But
story.
listen, here's the thing, though, and Missy can verify this. I've had a crush on Alexander Skarsgård since the days of True Blood. I said,
We both did then.
I said, I was a big fan of Eric Northman. I said, I don't have a mind saying he's a dime piece. I'm not a gay man, but if I were gay, he'd be one of the guys that would be on my list.
Yeah.
And he's a dreamy dude. So I was fine, even if his character kind of sucked.
Yeah.
It was just Alexander Skarsgård, so I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Just chewing up scenery there.
Yeah. And, the funny thing about this, too, is, and you'll have to forgive me. I don't know why I can't remember Eleven's name. I'm blanking off the top of my head.
Billy's in there.
Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown.
I
yeah.
said that.
You did. Yeah, you did say Millie. You have a speech impediment. And all your B's
in
sound
the
like,
Bender sort of way.
all your M's sound like B's. So Millie Bobby Brown, she's a star.
Yeah.
She's a star of the show. I went on here and said that I gave it, I think, a 4 out of 5. That young Charlotte or that Enola Holmes. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
She is in these 2 movies. She's in the second Godzilla.
Sorry.
Berliner Weiss.
She's in the second Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and she's in this, and she has kind of the most through line of both films.
Yeah.
But even she's not a part of the story, really.
I barely even remember her in the movie.
Yeah. She had more of an impact in the first one than
Yeah,
she did
she did.
this.
The little deaf girl too, teaching Kong sign language. I thought that was interesting.
endearing. Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably one of the better plots of the movie.
Right.
That was one of the better things of the movie. Yeah. I
I know
tell-
you're a Godzilla fan, but I still wanted Kong to do different things. I didn't want to give away, as I was saying it, I was like, I don't want to give away spoilers.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it on the show before already. And I love, don't get me wrong, I love King Kong. We can call him King Kong because we don't have copyright or trademark infringement. They can't call him King Kong in the movies. But Kong, as great as Kong is, he can't beat Godzilla. Godzilla is the king of monsters.
Yeah.
Period. But that said, it was a very fun movie to me. Yeah, worth every minute. They had no plans when they made this to make more, and they're gonna make more now. Of
course they
so, and by the way, for those that haven't read it, I don't even remember the movie. That's how much how fluff it was for me. But for those that have not read Ready Player One, one of the biggest moments of Ready Player One is the fact that the main bad guy in Ready Player One has Mechagodzilla as his monster at the end of it that he's in, the mech suit he's in. And even the protagonist of Ready Player One, Artemis,
Yeah.
he says...
Parsifal.
Percival, yeah, that's it. Yeah, he says it's the most devastating mech ever designed.
Yeah.
And the fact that we finally saw an updated, awesome Mechagodzilla, awesome. And
Yeah.
the story, it was a very much a rip-off of Pacific Rim 2. Now, the cerebral cut
Yeah.
into it and stuff. But still, I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
every minute of it. So I'm in.
So going off that, I finished reading Ready Player 2.
Did you like it?
No, it sucked.
Oh man, see, I really want to read it.
See-
I loved Ready Player One, and even friend of the show, one of the best friends in real life, Dwayne. He said it was nostalgia porn. He didn't like it as much as me, but every part of Ready Player One was my childhood that I didn't share with the rest of the world because I was in a small town that did not share that stuff.
Yeah. And looking back at Ready Player One, I'm wondering if I wouldn't like it as much if I went back to it, just for the fact that's like the basis of the story. It's just the nostalgia part. Like the story itself was kind of predictable and
Well, see, I feel like in Ready Player One, and I don't know anything about two.
yeah.
But to me, the story made sense on how they used it.
Yeah.
I guess, and with again, just reading your body language and your talk, maybe the problem in two is there wasn't enough story to help propel the nostalgia porn from point A to point B.
Yeah.
It was just nostalgia porn.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they're going to make a movie.
Yeah, of course they are. But I've seen a lot of people complain about it too. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever read, but I kind of liken it to a Dan Brown book where it's just
Oh, yeah.
you know what they are when you're going into them.
Yeah.
It's like mindless action movies.
Hey, I was a part of the problem when it came to Dan Brown. I read Da Vinci Code and assumed that Dan Brown was accurate in all the stuff that he researched.
Yeah.
Turns out Dan Brown made up a lot of stuff and
Yeah.
connected a lot of dots that history did not connect for him.
Yeah. But if you see a lot of literary reviews for his books, like people just bash him because of his writing style, and sometimes there's a lack of substance or luck for the character. But
Wait a minute. Are we talking about the 50 Shades, or are we talking
Yeah.
about... Oh, okay. What are we talking... Because I only read the first chapter of 50 Shades when Missy got it from a friend. She didn't even finish it.
yeah,
I finished all three books.
Oh, you did?
Not for the sex part, but because the storyline was very intriguing.
But they were some of the most poorly written books I've
Yeah.
ever read. And
She used the same words
well, when
many times.
found out that she was just fan fiction for Twilight, and they changed the names to put them so they didn't get sued. I'm like, oh, that's why it's so
Yeah.
bad. So yeah, but anyway,
Yeah.
Dan Brown. He doesn't have an open invitation to come on the show because George R.R. Martin books are really, I've said this, the reason he has an open invitation to come on the show is because they are the most awfully written thing that I absolutely love that I've ever had in my life. I have never hated parts of something I've loved so much.
Yeah.
Except for the St. Louis Cardinals in throughout the history.
Yeah.
And that's it. I love the Song of Fire and Ice. I hate his writing a lot.
yeah.
So it really, listen, I don't fight with my wife, but I fight in my head a lot. So
I'm stuck on this last book too, and like, I want to finish it just because I've read everything else. But
the
it's
song you haven't finished the last one?
no, I haven't.
Oh.
I'm not even halfway through it. I've been working
Maybe
on it
you're
for
the
about
problem.
6 months.
Now that I'm thinking of it, you could be the problem. Maybe if you just finish the book, the next one will come out.
Yeah, I don't know. He's
doubt-
been working on it a lot longer than I've been reading it.
I have recently came to determine. I don't know if this is a popular thing on the internet. I haven't read it anywhere. I feel like that as soon as I say it, somebody's going to call me out because someone famous has already said it. But I think all he's wanting to do is beat the time between Dark Tower books.
Yeah.
And he wants to do that and then release it. Hopefully he finishes better than the Dark Tower, because even as much as I loved Wizards and Glass, Wolves of Kala and Song for Suzanne, they're not the greatest books.
No.
Still one of the best science or fantasy stories ever.
Yeah, I love
I
it.
just read on a side note, and Missy's not going to enjoy this conversation either. I just read on a side note that Alan Moore is about to release his 5-part fantasy epic.
Yeah.
So Jeremy will be buying 5 hardcovers of Alan Moore's 5-part fantasy epic because it's Alan Moore.
Yep.
Is that why I won't like this conversation?
Yeah,
Because you're
it's
going to
comic-
spend so much
well,
money.
it's comic books, and I mean, he's really, in my opinion, it's Alan Moore, it's Frank Miller. I mean, those are it's Neil Gaiman and Warren Ellis, and I know that some of those guys are Me Too'd.
Yeah.
But they really are 4 of the greatest writers in the history of comics right there.
Yeah.
So, and Alan Moore might be the best.
Yeah.
Frank Miller, there's an argument to be made, but Alan Moore might be the best. He wrote Watchmen.
Yeah.
And he wrote the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I mean, he's Frank. Now, I will say this: Frank Miller's still the writer of the greatest comic book of all time, in Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
But Watchmen to me is 99.9% compared to Dark Knight Returns is 100%. I mean, it's the 2 greatest books ever written, I think.
Yeah. I put Kurt Busiek right there with him too for.
I think longevity.
Yeah.
His career's not as deep as theirs, but certainly Astro City and some other things are very good.
He had a good Avenger run too.
And there's guys like, I loved his Age of his Ultron Unlimited, where he maybe one of the my favorite scenes is when the hammer comes through the wall and it says Ultron, we would have words with thee.
Yeah.
But also Mark Miller, another great one, but again, not the body of work as those other guys. But anyway, let's see what else you brought to the list and see if it's something that Missy will talk about.
I also caught up on Ted Lasso.
Oh, now you're bringing it to
there.
Missy's wheelhouse. Let's hear Jay's thoughts on Ted Lasso.
It might be my all-time favorite TV show.
It's really good.
It's the only reason I don't say it is because we've only had 1 season. It's so new,
Yeah.
and everybody says, "Oh, everyone just likes what is new and what is fresh." But it is, it is hard to argue that it's the most positive. It well balances positivity, niceness, and overall good storytelling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue that it is the nicest, best show.
Yeah.
Or the best, nicest show. However
Yes.
you want to say that. I told you I rewatched it recently, and the dart scene, and 2 or 3 times in the final episode, I got teary-eyed. I recognize the fact that I have 2 kids now makes me a giant pussy compared to what I used to be. I cry way more now than I ever did in my previous 42 years before this year, 43 now. But that show, man. For instance, I forgot I was left-handed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so fucking good.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm just assuming 5 out of 5.
Easily.
But I mean, just what the Dart episode's my favorite episode, with the final episode being my second best. But I'm going to ask you a question that's impossible to ask.
All right.
Who's your favorite characters on the show?
It's hard to say because the equipment manager that becomes the coach.
Nate?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
Nate
my
was
name.
awesome. I mean,
Coach Beard.
yeah.
Is and Coach Beard, like I love when Ted is going into it with talking to someone, and Coach Beard leans in and puts his hands on it. I mean, the subtle humor that guy has.
Yes. And he's so dry about everything too.
I wish
so
he had
good.
more lines.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You are right. They could give him more lines and it'd be awesome.
And they may very well in the second season.
But if they don't, the beauty of his character is not a wasted breath.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or joke. Every
Yeah.
joke is sharp, man. And there's been there's underrated movies out there. Like, what's that movie with Jason Sudeikis and Alison Brie, Sleeping with Other People? I think is the name of it. I think where
Or they literally
hooked up in college
yes,
and then end up. Jason Sudeikis is great in that. We're the Millers.
Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis is great, and Jason Sudeikis is so good in everything he does. What I like about this, though, is he's one of those guys where they say, well, he's kind of the same guy in everything. Well, he's a PG version of the same guy and everything in this.
Yeah.
But he's a little different in this, and that anxiety, that anxiety attack, that's a good scene.
Yeah, it was
And when
amazing.
he's doing the finger thing, like you saw it coming, like
Yeah.
for the whole episode.
and my anxiety just went up watching him go through it.
Again, there's only one bad guy in the whole show,
Yeah.
and he loves the team.
Yeah.
What were you about to say about it? Say Sudeikis.
Oh, he's not good at everything.
What's he not? Oh, he's not good at staying married to Olivia Wilde.
Well, he was never married,
Or
but he's
staying
not good
married.
at keeping hot chicks.
Yeah.
But how long did it take you to watch the whole series, Jay?
2 days.
Wow.
It's
impressive.
I loved it so much. I watched the first 6 episodes, and then I watched the first 6 episodes over until Missy joined, and then we watched the last 4 together. Then I rewatched the last 4 again, so I could say I watched it twice. And
Yeah.
then what was it? A couple weeks ago, I just watched the whole thing again.
I'm going to end up watching it again soon because I'm going to make Aaron watch it.
You're getting the most out of that friendship. Apple Plus.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about a couple other things. You've also watched Mythic Quest and the Beastie Boys documentary.
Yes, both those were very good too. Mythic Quest,
Missy hasn't watched that. I think she'd like that too.
yeah, I think so.
For being about video games, it's a refreshing change, but still keeps the same sense of humor as It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, and I mean Rob McEllery,
Yeah, whatever,
something like that. Yeah, he's great in it, and you get bits of Mac, but then you also get like a nerdier version almost.
Yeah, and then I think we talked, but you did watch episode 11, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Oh
man.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to see what they do for season 2. But apparently they've had to scrap a lot of what they were planning.
Because of COVID.
Yep.
Yeah, COVID changed up. So I guess episode 11 was the finale.
Yeah.
And I think they said it was the finale that they had planned, but there was going to be another episode or 2 to tie into it.
Yeah.
The episode to tie into it ended up being the COVID episode, which I maintained to this. Missy, we watched that one scary, that 70-minute scary movie that was all COVID, where they did the Zoom seance, and it ended up bringing,
I think I actually fell asleep a little bit.
it was cleverly done, but no one has done a Zoom episode better than Mythic Quest. And I know take a drink for Jeremy's hyperbole, but
I don't know. Modern Family did a virtual type episode once, and I thought it was
they
pretty
did
well
a good
done.
job. But but the emotional aspect of the Mythic Quest one, because you saw one girl really have a nervous breakdown because of COVID, and the way it culminated. And spoiler alert again, I'm sorry, people. And the main character, Rob's character, show up at her door and saved her.
Yeah.
And he really, through the whole season, you really didn't think he liked her, and then he showed up for her. And then after that, they did a Rube Goldberg machine, and that was a pretty fun thing.
Yeah.
too. So good show.
Yeah. I would say the different thing between that and the Modern Family episode was Modern Family, it was because he was out of town.
Yeah.
And so, like, the gravity of it wasn't there. Like,
Yeah, there wasn't the weight of COVID.
Yeah.
So real quick,
What about when he threw himself down the stairs?
real quick, just touch on the Beastie Boys documentary. That
it was so good. I love music documentaries, and that one, like, really hit home just...
made me cry every
Yeah.
time.
And I was disappointed at the end that they didn't show more of what was going on with them, but I kind of understood it too because they were on the stage talking, and it got difficult.
Yeah,
for them.
I don't think they could.
Yeah.
I think that's too tough.
This is the time of year for his anniversary of his death,
Yeah.
by the way. And I only remember that because I was on a school field trip with Caitlin.
Oh yeah,
On the bus when my phone
and
went
I had
off.
to cry at home.
Yeah.
Or at work. I don't remember where I was, but
I think you're at work.
the thing that I don't know why I went thing that I like. Apparently I'm a Daffy Duck or Elmer Fudd. I don't know what's going on there. But the thing I like most about what the Beastie Boys have done is there's articles that say the Beastie Boys are now broke up, and Horvitz and Diamond, no, we're not broke up. There's just no more Beastie Boys.
Right.
Because without Adam Yauch,
Yeah.
there's not a Beastie Boys.
Right.
So people go, so when you guys disbanded, like, no, we're still here. It's just not a Beastie
it's
Boys.
not right
Yeah,
to
they
not
would
go on.
never do that.
Yeah, they're not going to be like
they're just not
Queen.
making music anymore. They're still the Beastie Boys.
I once said if they ever did a tribute show to where they did a Beastie Boys song, because of where he's from, the fact that he's Jewish, Modest Yahoo would be
Yeah.
good.
They're just not like Leonard Skinner or crap. I had like 3 other bands in my head.
AC/DC's done it where
Yeah.
they've changed
Rush,
frontmen
or not
twice.
Rush, Queen.
Queen's done it, yeah.
Sublime. They're not like those guys.
Sublime with Rome.
yeah.
Who's not the same.
Will you grab me a beer that we got from Beer Sauce Shop? Do you want more of this or do you want another beer?
I'll take a different one.
All right. Anyone? I don't think I've had any of those that we got from Beer Sauce Shop on the top shelf. But anyway, so I don't know. Unless you have anything main to do, we kind of did a throw it to Missy segment this entire thing, but I guess we should officially throw it to Missy since the Missy's here.
Well, I can't pick out beer and do my segment at the same
okay,
time.
well, grab the beer and we'll stall for time.
Hazy.
Okay, there's a
Oh, you're
hazy.
picking that one?
Have you had it?
No.
Okay.
I
wait.
didn't know.
What are we doing here? Oh, we're all doing something different. That makes sense. I like where your head's at. Yeah. Well, anyway, now that she's back, we're going to throw... Before we throw it to Missy, I'll say this. Missy pulled out 3 beers. 3 beers I've never had.
Yeah.
One
We can all try them.
One is Missouri Loves Company from a slew of Missouri breweries, if you can see on here.
28?
28 breweries.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, 28 breweries, and these are fundraiser things. So the Logboat is where this one was brewed at.
Okay.
But it's the same recipe across the board, like all.
Yeah.
I joked that said I get when 1 or 2 breweries do it, but literally, how can 28 breweries combine for? How many different hands can stir the pot? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So she got that Missouri Loves Company. It's a springtime pale ale, little 5.5 ABV. Doesn't tell me what the IBUs is, but I'm going to guess they're very low since it's a pale ale.
Yeah.
She got you a Flatiron Fog, which is a hazy Indian pale ale.
I thought you would get that one.
And it is from
But it
Four
says
Noses Brewing Company. It's 6.5%. Juicy, bright hops, fluffy mouthfeel. I got jokes. But it doesn't say the IBUs on this one. But it's a hazy.
Yeah.
And then I love Surly Wood Brewing Company 1. And 2, this might be one of my favorite cans I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This is Give the Devil His Due. And it is just an awesomely designed can. It's a double dry hopped, hazy, double Indian pale ale. There's a lot going on in this.
Yeah.
Missy, it is 9.3% by volume.
Oh, great.
And it is a juicy, hazy, devilish IPA. So that's what we got. So
She's trying to get you drunk.
that said, let's throw it to Missy and see if she's got anything to
All
do.
right. So
She's got something! Chug your beer!
So I recently threw this out to Jeremy, and I'm going to make it real nerd style for you all. And we're going to play Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Oh, she did do this. Tell him who you threw out for me.
I don't even remember, but here's the thing. All right.
And by the way, we had a kid in the car, so she called it Kiss, Marry, Kill. I think
what I
that's
said,
why
Kiss,
she did
Marry,
this.
Kill. Yeah.
I don't know why she didn't call it Fuck, Marry, Kill when we're on the
Well,
podcast.
Jay's here. I'm trying to keep it.
Oh,
wholesome.
yeah, I can see. Jay, thank you for being here.
I'm innocent.
to take us from an R to a PG-13.
All right. So, Jay, you're going to go first, right?
All right.
Kiss, Marry, Kill. French toast. I already forgot my first person.
I thought that was one of her things. Well, I guess kiss because you're
Yeah.
close to eating it.
French kiss?
Captain Marvel.
Okay, Carol Danvers.
Yeah. Wonder Woman.
Oh, Diana.
Jean Grey.
So, the comic book versions, or do I get to pick like a movie version? Like,
Well,
of
that's
Jean
so
Grey?
if we
Well, let's
go.
do comic because I don't know if I'm going to have real life versions for Jeremy's 3.
Oh, then I have a sub thing I want to bring up after you do hers.
Okay. Well, Jean Grey's not going to be the merry one because I don't want her reading my mind every day.
Well, by the way, kill Jean Grey
Yeah.
because she's the Phoenix and
And
always
she'll-
comes
yeah.
back to life.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that'd be if you'd want to kill her then because she'd come back for revenge.
So not her fault. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. Kiss Wonder Woman. Marry Captain Marvel. Kill Jean Grey.
Okay. By the way, if you change that to fuck, marry, kill, I think you still did it in the right order.
Yeah, I think so,
because no one. I mean, there's a certain part of the masculine, years of learned behavior, like what's the word? Instinctual behavior, our memory from our evolution, that says that the woman can't be so much more manly than us.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman is the most powerful woman of all time. So
So-
she would be in charge of you.
If
Yeah.
you did it by the women that play the characters.
This is what I want to ask you. So is it Famke Janssen or is it what's her name from Game of Thrones?
Sansa Stark.
Sansa Stark's
can't think of her
character,
name.
yeah. I myself would say Famke Janssen
Yeah, me too.
over her. So if it's Famke Janssen,
no, this is his question
I know.
first
Well,
of
yeah,
all.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but let's
You
say,
got your own 3 coming.
let's
You just chill out.
Okay, well, let's say for you, if you're a Famke Janssen, let's get the names out there for people. It's Famke Janssen, it's Gal Gadot, and it's
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson. So you have to kiss, marry, kill Famke Janssen, Gal Gadot, and Brie Larson.
Well, Gal stays where she is, and then you flip flop the other two. So then Famke, marry, and Brie kill.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a solid choice.
Yeah.
For me, it's Gal Gadot. Whichever one I get to spend the rest of my life with is Gal Gadot. So
Yeah.
marry Gal Gadot. But let me hear what I got coming to me.
All right. You ready?
I can't wait.
Black Widow,
Okay.
Wanda, and Harley Quinn. So first you'll do the characters, and then you'll do the women that play
Which
them.
crazy are you gonna pick?
Black Widow,
Yeah.
Wanda, or Harley Quinn. Okay, so I'm going to live on the edge a little bit, and I'm going to kiss Harley Quinn.
You can't kill her. Well, I don't know.
I'm going to marry Black Widow, and I'm going to kill Wanda because
Good
I
luck.
think that's the good thing to do for the world.
Good luck.
I gotta tell you what, the three you picked though of those characters, not my they're none of them. I'm like,
I am so sorry I
No,
didn't pick Gal Gadot and
no. Oh, so let's go with the real life. So I'm doing the comic books. So now let's go with the real life one. Margot Robbie, Elizabeth Olsen, and Scarlett Johansson. Now that's a tougher question. That's a tougher question. And that one leaves me stumped.
Yeah.
Because Missy knows that I kind of have a thing for at least two of them, and Elizabeth Olsen's climbing the list.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kiss. You know what? I'm going to go crazy here for you, Missy.
God.
You're gonna
Go crazy.
I'm going to kill Scarlett Johansson. I'm going to kiss
The Olsen.
the Olsen, and I'm going to marry Margot Robbie because Margot Robbie has that extra quality, and she was in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
What is the extra quality?
She's foreign, her accent.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she was in a Quentin Tarantino movie. So that I gotta tell you, Miss, of all your throw it to Missy things you brought up, this was one of your best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I thought Jay was about to give me a high five.
Let's
I was
throw
like,
one together real quick for her.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. Oh, can't do comic books.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
I did throw one together for her, but I can revise it. So Michael B. Jordan, Zac Efron, and Josh Duhamel. It's a tough one.
well,
We could say,
I'm going to kiss Michael B. Jordan.
okay.
I'm going to. You're gonna be shocked by this. I'm
You're gonna
going
kill
to
Josh Duhamel?
kill Josh Duhamel, and I'm going to marry Zac Efron.
So
although I think he's shorter than me, so maybe I should switch.
Yeah, Josh Duhamel's the tallest. Michael B. Jordan's shorter than you, I bet.
Well, I'm just kissing him.
Yeah, that's right. I will say this: if you haven't read the things from this week, there's some Zac Efron steroid questions out there because apparently his face is plumped up a little bit.
Well, I've also read that it's like fillers too.
Yeah, I've heard that there might be that too.
He's
So,
getting older.
well, so the fillers is what I heard, and then some reputable podcasters that may or may not have done steroids in their day said, no, look at his body in Baywatch and some other stuff. That's what happens to your face when you come off of steroids. That it does that. Like you'll
But
get.
he's still
they call
like
it moon
in
face.
really great shape.
Yeah, but when he was on Baywatch, he even talked about he was like, "Oh, I had to eat this, I had to do that."
Well, that's because he was on a mission to outshine Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, but rest assured, Dwayne Johnson is on all the steroids. So is Zac Efron. And by the way, Kumail Nanjiani, all the juice. You don't get to look like that and maintain it without with all the Mexican supplements.
Yeah.
You just friend of the show, Dusty Dean, the Dean of Rap. He will sound in on this, and he's been a lifelong he knows a lot about bodybuilding. He's watched the sport for years, and he knows about. He's got parents that are in the medical industry, and he will tell you, "Oh no, they're an actor. There's no repercussions. They are on the juices.
Yeah,
it's all of them." So that's a very good one. Hey, do you want to bring up Serpent before we move to what Jay has?
I don't feel like you liked it as much as I did.
I enjoyed it.
Because you at one point go, I don't want to watch that tonight.
Yeah, well, no, I did like it. It was long. It felt longer than it was.
The sadistic piece of me really wanted to see
the
these
part that's
people
going to eventually
die.
murder me.
Yeah, no, that really wanted to see the people die, not just. We just hear that they die. But this was like based on a true life, like so. I mean, and they changed a lot of it, but I thought it was good. I mean, he was a serial killer essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's a true story about a guy. this we'll just call him. His nickname was the Serpent, but it was a true story about a guy that operated in Bangkok.
Charles Shabraja.
Yeah, and some other places. He hated hippies, so he would take them in using his charisma. He would poison them. He'd kill them. He'd take their passports, use their passports to help his illegal jewelry theft ring,
Yeah.
and he would travel to sell his jewels and stuff around. And he was really a sociopathic piece of shit. They say, in fact, I read the Wikipedia on him. He wasn't a psychopath. In fact, they were shocked that he did not like hippies, but they don't think that that's why he was merely killing people out of convenience.
Yeah.
But he targeted hippies because they were the most transient people at that time period and easiest targets.
Well, and hippies were on drugs, so
Yeah.
it was easier to manipulate them.
Yeah,
so
but-
I thought it was good.
it was good. When I say
Was it great? No. I mean, there's other better things out there. But what turned me on is I heard
I can't wait. I got to find out.
No,
what happened.
I heard soccer parents talking about it, and so I was like, oh, well, this sounds like. And I'd had my eye on it, so I was like, let me.
Kind
give
of
it
the
a
way
try.
she met me.
Yeah.
She had her eye on me. She heard some other girls talking about me. Just kidding.
No one
She
talks
never
about
did that. Yeah, no one talked about you. No one. We call her Trish the Dish. No one calls me that. So what do you got in the throw to me? By the way, you didn't give a rating out of 5
Of what?
of The Serpent
Oh,
on Netflix. By the way, you check it out.
3.75.
I'm gonna go 3.25. I enjoyed it. It did drag. Some episodes dragged for me.
Well, I
But
feel
not-
like the episodes feel as long as Ozark. Ozark episode. Have you ever watched Ozark?
Yeah.
The episodes are only an hour, but an hour literally feels like a full-on movie.
Maybe here's the difference: the episodes of Ozark that feel like they're dragging on, I don't have to read any subtitles.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of subtitles.
And Jeremy is on his phone constantly, so for him to read subtitles while he's on his phone is really hard.
I love that she said Jeremy's on his phone constantly when Missy is also on her phone constantly.
Not as much.
She says this, but our screen times reflect differently, and our usage used to reflect differently when I would look it up too.
I feel like I'm at home right now.
Yeah. So what's your next throw it to Missy segment?
So I watched 2 documentaries. The Day That Sports Stood Still.
That's the O.J. Simpson, right? Or no, what is that?
No, this is about...
COVID.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
COVID and then
yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
They market it as a sports documentary, but it's mainly NBA. And it dealt with the guy from the Utah Jazz that was the first one to have it.
When
and
he
how they
touched
had-
the mics and made the joke.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then he ended up having it?
Yeah, he was
Oh.
one of the first NBA player to come get it.
And they were supposed to play. Like, the team was on the court, and they saw him getting pulled aside and taken off, and then 10 minutes later, they're canceling the game, and all the players are out there like, what's going on?
That motherfucker.
Yeah. It was interesting. I wish they would have touched on more of other sports, but I enjoyed it. It was probably 3 out of 5. And then I watched It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood, the
Aw,
Mr.
how was
Rogers
that?
documentary.
I would like to watch the documentary. I haven't watched the movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched the movie
And I hear
yet.
the movie kind of drags.
Yeah, and I found out that the movie is more about the
The
journalist.
guy that it's
Yeah.
like Tuesdays with Maury. It's
Yeah.
about the guy that interviewed him more
Yeah.
than it is him.
So this was all like talking to the people that were on the show now, and
Maybe one of the greatest men to ever live.
yeah,
Yeah, just a good guy.
but it killed the sniper backstory for him that he was a sniper in World War II.
yeah,
They
yeah.
said that wasn't true.
Yeah,
So
but a great guy.
yes,
Just a great guy.
and at his funeral, there were people outside protesting because he accepted people for who they were.
Yeah.
and they were out there boycotting gay people.
He was one of the first people to go in front of Congress and stuff and talk about inclusion on TV and things like that.
So there was a cast member who was openly gay, but he was married at the time. And word came back to him that this cast member was seen at a gay club. And he said, "You're married. I will kick you off the show if I hear these rumors again that you're going to this place. Not that you're gay,
Yeah.
but you're going out while you're married."
Yeah.
And so the guy's like, "My marriage fell apart, but he accepted me for who I was."
Yeah, what he was infidelity is what he was mad
Yeah.
at me for, not homosexuality. Yeah, just a for the things that he fought for civil rights, for what he did on the show, and you could argue that the show sometimes was kind of silly. I mean, as a kid, I remember the turning point in my life where I was like, oh, I love Mr. Rogers, to the point where I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But for what he did and what he accomplished...
Was it the hand puppets?
No, it was just, I mean, it was a very good rudimentary teaching show.
Yeah.
And it taught good things. And
Do
by
you
the
have
time,
a favorite episode? Because I do.
Oh, let me hear it.
It's the episode where they taught you how crayons were made.
I bet that would be a great episode. Yeah.
I like that one. You know how they always went somewhere and they showed you how things were done?
Yeah.
It was it was the crayon factory.
I don't know that I have a favorite episode, but my favorite segment's when the train always took him into that world. But like the kid in me, the boy that grew up in the 80s as during his adolescence. Or I guess that's what I mean. I mean, I was a toddler into my what's in between adolescence and toddler? Is that
That's just called being an asshole.
just a kid?
Yeah.
When I was definitely preteen was the 90s. I mean the 80s, and that's when I think by the time that I became male ego driven enough to say Transformers and G.I. Joe was my jam.
Yeah.
That's when I thought Mr. Rogers was silly.
I can see that.
But before that, like, I remember as a kid, man, I loved that little fucking train, man.
Yeah.
And it took you into that world.
Very
I was like, it's
wholesome,
awesome.
good manners and like ideals.
Well, and now as an adult with kids, I fucking love him again.
Yeah,
You know?
and he still has an impact on kids because the Daniel Tiger cartoon show spawned out of that.
Two of the greatest guys in TV that kind of operated near around the same times, Mr. Rogers and fucking Bob Ross.
Yeah,
They're just cool dudes, man.
yeah.
Just
Why
nice
did you
pop.
have to just like take away their wholesomeness by saying fuck in the middle of all that?
Sorry, Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross, two really good guys. In all accounts, Bob Ross was a good dude.
Yeah.
He didn't stand up and fight for things like that, but he was not a penny to his name and just kept doing this.
Yeah.
Until he...
It made him happy to paint happy trees.
And it made him happy to teach other people to be happy. You know? So, yeah, that's cool. What would you give the two documentaries, though?
Day Sports Stood Still, I'd say a 3. It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood, I'd say probably 3.5, 4.
Okay. I love documentaries. I mean, I just love them, man.
We have our documentary styles are a
Hers are
little different.
Hers are about people murdering people, and mine are about laughing and sports and music.
Yep, that's mine too.
I like the music ones.
Not as much as she loves the murdering ones.
You
Just
need to
kidding.
Find
It's got
a murdering band.
It's got a band that fucking kills it, man.
Yeah.
So, Missy, do you have anything else for the Throat
I
to
do
Mississippi?
not.
Jay, go through your list, because I think I've pretty much talked about everything I need to talk about today.
All right, last thing. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Punisher, and Kingpin are most likely coming to the MCU as is from Netflix.
Same actors and
Same
same
actors.
everything. So, one, it's good that Jessica Jones is, because that was the superior show out of all of them.
Yeah.
Kingpin is good because Vincent D'Onofrio is a good choice.
Yeah, he killed it.
And also, same thing. John Barenthal was a good choice for Punisher, and then it makes and the people in the shows, with the exception of Iron Fist and the Secret Defenders.
Yeah.
The people in those shows were well done. Whether the shows were great or the episodes were weak or not, the people were really good choices.
Yeah. I kind of wish Mike Coulter was coming back as Luke Cage.
Yeah,
I liked him.
I would be. I don't think. I think, and that was well received.
Yeah.
I just don't know that they think it fits in yet.
Right.
So, which is crazy consider. And I don't think it's got anything to do with black.
Yeah.
I just think that I don't know where it fits yet.
Yeah.
Although he ended up being an Avenger, a new Avenger, they could put him in there.
Yeah.
Somehow. But
He was in charge of the Thunderbolts for a while, too.
yeah. I think we know that Spider-Man No Way Home is going to give us Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how the other ones pop in.
I've heard She-Hulk also.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's going to be in She-Hulk because that's going to be part courtroom drama, part superhero flick. So that's good. That'll be worth it.
Yeah.
What's our next Marvel show? Loki. Can I get you to watch Loki with me? We'll see. Yeah. I think she'd be more apt to watch something like She-Hulk than she would Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all right. Well, I don't have anything else. You got anything else?
Nope.
Missy, do you have anything else?
So much to say, but this isn't the platform.
All right. Well, it always goes my right to left, and since there's no Bender and there's no Tommy, the only thing you get tonight is Missy's high-pitched bye and the very soft, sexy, melodic voice of Jay saying,
Bye.
all right.
Bye.
All right, if we are going to play the music, and we're done.